I froze in place, my fingers digging through my bag like a maniac. No, no, no. Are you kidding me right now? I gasped like I saw my GPA fall. My heart dropped straight to the floor as I shoved my books aside, pulled out my lip balm, a crumpled receipt, two highlighters, and nothing. Not my book. I left my novel in the library. I shrieked like someone just told me Jungkook Sunbae was married. My roommate Ji, who was already tucked into her bed like a responsible adult, popped her head up with a pillow. You are joking, right? Why? It's almost 11. Sleep. We will go get it tomorrow. I turned to her dramatically, placing a hand on my chest like a heroine in distress. How am I supposed to sleep without knowing if Amelia ends up kissing Dimitri after that storm scene? That chapter ended on a cliffhanger, Jiyu. She groaned and pulled the blanket over her face. You are out of your mind. You seriously can't wait till morning? I didn't answer. I was already trying my hoodie and slipping on my sneakers like I was about to run a marathon. Romance waits for no one. GU, the campus is closed, genius. YN. Back gate, I grinned like a criminal with a plan. YN, it's always open. GU, you are going to die one day doing dumb stuff like this. Just saying. Then let it be known I died chasing love. I ran out before she could throw her pillow at me. By the time I reached campus, it was exactly 10:37 p.m. The sky was pitch dark, not even a single owl hooted for dramatic effect. Just silence and my own chaotic footsteps echoing across the path. Why is this place suddenly creepier than a horror movie set? I tiptoed towards the back gate like a guilty little raccoon. Luckily, it cracked open like usual. Seriously, this place needed better security, and I slipped in with a triumphant whisper, told ya. The hallway to the library stretched ahead like something out of a nightmare, long, quiet, empty. Even my footsteps sounded like they were trying to scare me. Okay, okay, this is fine. Totally normal behavior, just a girl looking for a book. In a haunted hallway at night, nothing wrong here. I was whispering prayers under my breath at this point. Please, Lord, don't let me die before I found out if Dimitri confesses. Please, Amin. When I finally pushed the door open to the library, I could have cried. Yes! I raised my hands in victory, sighing dramatically as the familiar smell of old pages hit me. Mama's home. Now all I had to do was find the damn book. As I tiptoed towards the aisle, eyes scanning the shelves for my precious book, something caught my eye. A tall, broad figure, muscles stretching under a black shirt, back hunched slightly forward, fingers tapping fast and quiet over a laptop keyboard. I froze like I just walked into an action movie, squinted, blinked twice, twice. Oh my god, it was him, Professor John Jungkook. My brain short circuited. The same cold, terrifying, mysterious man who walked into class like he ruled the world with a death stare and a cup of black coffee, now sitting here in the library at nearly 11 p.m. all alone. I could literally hear my heartbeat thudding in my ears. Why was he here alone at night? Was this legal? My brain, don't disturb him, just grab your book and run. I took the advice and grabbed towards the table where I thought I'd left my novel earlier, and here it was, my baby, my beautiful romance novel, sitting right at the edge of the table like it had missed me. Gotcha, I whispered like I just won the lottery, but of course, my luck had to be dramatic. The second I picked up my novel, another book lying beside it slipped and fell to the floor with a loud, echoing thud that felt like it shook the entire library. My soul left my body. Jungkook immediately looked up, sharp, dark eyes locking right into mine. His frown deepened. You are a student? I stared at him, eyes wide, still bent awkwardly like I was doing yoga. This was not how I imagined my crush interactions. Hi. Annyeonghaseyo, Kim Yune here. I gave a teeny awkward wave. It felt more like a spasm than a greeting. He blinked slowly like he was trying to understand if I was real. I huffed and stood up straight, hugged my book to my chest, and walked to the seat across from him like I belonged there. Confidence, YN, fake it till you die. I dropped into the chair, sighing like I had been through war. I could ask the same thing, sir. What are you doing in the library this late at night? He looked like I had just smacked him with a sock, brows lifted slightly, lips parting, then closing again. Jungkook, working on a research project. Oof, that voice, low, calm, almost a whisper. I think I forgot how to breathe. Why, and oh, research, like post-graduation stuff? He nodded quiet again, eyes flicking back to his screen. Why, and cool, cool, cool. And just like that, that blabber button in my brain turned on. I could not stop myself even if I tried. So I just came back for this. I held up the book like it was sacred. I left it here by accident and I can't sleep without finishing it. Like, genuinely can't. I have this thing where I need to know what happens or my brain just spirals and starts making up its own crazy endings and then I can't rest. His eyes slowly met mine again. He looked baffled, like watching squirrel do algebra. I smiled nervously and continued anyway because apparently I don't know when to shut up. Also, you'd think a student like me wouldn't risk her life walking across the campus at night for a romance novel, right? But no, here I am, almost getting eaten by shadows and ghosts because Amelia and Dimitri were about to kiss after storm. And I needed to know if they do. I stopped to breathe. He just blinked at me. I hugged the book closer. Anyway, sorry for disturbing your super serious research, professor. He shook his head slightly, eyes back on his laptop, voice low and calm. It's fine. Fine, he spoke again. I wanted to record that voice and loop it again while white noise at night. Jungkook's POV. I looked at her, this tiny chaotic creature sitting across from me, clutching her romance novel like it was a baby. She had talked non-stop for God knows how long, and now she was just sitting there, kicking her legs under the table like a kindergartner, eyes still shining with leftover adrenaline from her nighttime adventure. I didn't ask for this. I was just here to finish a part of my research alone in silence like always. I glanced back at my screen. You can go now. Her reaction was immediate. Already, she huffed, her lips puffing into a pout. You don't want me here? No, I didn't. That was the point. But the look on her face made me pause. Why was she pouting like I just kicked a puppy? She stood up, muttering something under her breath, brushing invisible dust off her hoodie like she needed to prepare for battle. She turned and walked to the door. And then I heard it click, 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 rattle, rattle. I looked up, frowning. What now? Why, Anne? Hello? Click, click, click. Okay, why isn't this door opening? Her voice went higher, more panicked. I sighed. Jungkook, move. I stood up, took off my glasses, and placed them neatly on the table, walked towards her. She moved aside quickly, hugging her book like it was a shield. The librarian gave me the keys. I stay late sometimes. I pulled the ring of my keys from my pocket, picked the right one, and shoved it into the lock. It didn't work. I tried again and again, nothing. My brows furrowed harder. This didn't make sense. I jiggled it, twisted it the other way, even used a bit more force. Still nothing. Behind me, I could hear her getting restless. I didn't want to say it, but I had to. I rubbed my temple, sighed, and then turned around. Jungkook, I'll call the librarian. She nodded with wide eyes as I walked to the table and picked up my phone. I dialed. No answer. Of course. I tried again. Still nothing. And just as I opened my mouth to tell her, poof, darkness. Pure, thick, terrifying darkness swallowed the whole room. The sound of power shutting down echoed for a second. I froze. She gasped so loudly I thought something grabbed her. Oh my god. I grabbed my phone quickly, turned on the torchlight, and faced her. It's okay, calm down. She came running towards me like life depended on it, and I just stood there blinking as she clutched her novel tighter and stopped beside me. Not too close, but close enough. Why, and this is how people die in horror movies. She whispered that loud enough for me to hear. I sighed again, already pulling up my contacts. I tried calling security, reception, anybody, nothing. No signal. My fingers slid through my hair in frustration. There's no signal either. Electricity is out, campus blackout maybe. And then. What? She shrieked loud. I flinched. My brows pulled together as I looked at her, expecting her to panic, cry, or scream again. But instead she was smiling. Smiling? Wide eyes, glowing face, her whole body vibrating like a puppy who just got let loose in a garden. What the Jungkook, you are smiling? Yeah, because it suddenly occurred to me that this. She twirled in the dark like a fairy, almost knocking into a chair. Feels like one of my novels, trapped in a dark place with a handsome, mysterious man during a blackout. She turned to me, grinning. It's literally a dream trope. I blinked slowly. Jungkook, you are enjoying this? Why, and of course, this is like chapter 20 of Midnight Desires. You haven't read that one? Right? It's okay, I forgive you. I stared at her. Was she even real? How could she be happy about being locked in a library during a blackout with no signal or idea when help was coming? I was on the edge of a headache. She was on the edge of writing fan fiction about this. I didn't know whether to laugh or walk out through a wall. She looked at me again. Why, Anne, you okay? You look like you're glitching. Jungkook, I'm fine. I wasn't, but I couldn't admit that. I never thought I'd end up trapped with a student, this kind of student, in the middle of a blackout, and yet here we were. Her humming under her breath beside me, and me holding the book like it magically fix this. God help me. She was so weird. Why ends POV? He sighed. That kind of sigh that feels like it came from someone's soul. And without saying a word, he walked over to the large window near the far end of the library. The moonlight poured in like silver paint, making everything glow soft and pale. His broad back caught the light, shoulders rising and falling with every breath as he sat down by the window. Jungkook, electricity should come back soon, just wait a bit. His voice was low, like velvet and stone, not warm, not cold, just calm, detached. So him. I watched as he sat typing again, fingers dancing across the keyboard like he was composing a secret code for some elite mission. God, he looked perfect, like a scene out of my books. A mysterious professor with tattoos, lip ring catching a faint glint of moonlight, backlit by the night sky. Was this a dream? I was never waking up. I huffed quietly and skipped towards him, carefully not to trip over my own excitement. I sat at the opposite of the window bench, curling up like a cozy cat. The cold stone pressed against my thighs, but I didn't care. Why, and Professor John, he didn't look at me, just hummed quietly like he was half listening. So, funny story, I might have forgotten my phone at the dorm, and I can't read my book in the dark, and I need to read, or my brain will start spinning disaster endings. You don't want that, trust me. He paused, fingers hovering above the keys. I blinked at him, wide eyed, sweet as sugar. Can I borrow your phone torch, please? I swear I won't even peek at your lock screen or anything. Another sigh. God, this man really had a thing for sighing. He reached into his pocket, pulled out his phone, turned on the flashlight, and handed it to me silently. You are the best. I whispered like it was sacred knowledge and hugged the phone like it was glowing gold. I curled up again, holding my phone open in front of the light, and finally let myself fall back into the world of Amelia and Dimitri. Pages after pages. Kisses and rain, enemies turned lovers, thunderstorms and heartaches. I forgot where I was. Honestly, I forgot I was sitting in a library locked in beside the most intimidating godlike professor on campus. My eyes were glassy, heart fluttering with every line. I couldn't help the tiny squeal that burst out of me. I slammed my book shut, pressed it to my chest, heart racing like I just ran a marathon. Only then did I remember. I wasn't alone. I slowly turned my head to find Professor John Jungkook staring at me from over the edge of his laptop, eyebrows slightly raised, not annoyed, just surprised. Sorry, I coughed awkwardly, trying to melt into my bench. That wasn't me, that was fictional joy escaping my soul. He kept looking at me for a second, just a second longer than needed. Then he shook his head, eyes dropping back to his screen. You should really try some romance novels. You look like you need a hug from one. Still nothing. But I swore I saw the corner of his mouth twitch. Just a tiny bit. Progress. I turned my attention back to the book humming softly, trapped in a dark library, moonlight glowing, silence between pages and keyboard taps. Me and him, yeah. This wasn't just a dream, this was chapter, beginning of something beautiful. At least I will try my best to make it one. He was John Jungkook after all, my crush. Okay, fine, one of my crushes. And somehow I knew from his cousin, who was my a senior by the way, John Jungkook is single. Jungkook's POV. She's been quiet for maybe 10 minutes, a record. I had almost started to believe she'd finally gone into a book coma, lost in whatever passionate poetic mess that novel was feeding her, and I thank God it gave my focus back on my laptop. I almost totally forgot she was even here. And then, why, Anne? Seriously though, why don't you read romance novels? I didn't look up. I just blinked at the screen. Not this again. Why, and like, do you hate love or kissing or fun because you give off that vibe sometimes? No offense. I let out a slow breath through my nose, typing the same line twice before deleting it again. Why, and they are good for your heart. Romance novels make you feel stuff, soft stuff, squishy stuff, stuff that makes you smile while staring at the ceilings. She paused dramatically, probably waiting for me to react. I didn't. Why, and also they make you better at flirting, which I am guessing you are terrible at. That made me look up just for a second. She grinned like she won something, kicked her legs again, and kept talking. Why, and like, no offense, but you kinda walk around like a dark wizard who cast a celibacy spell on himself. I blinked. Why, and which is honestly hot. That whole no time for love thing, total romance novel drop. On top of that, you're single. I blinked. That made me stop typing. My eyes slowly lifted to meet hers. Jungkook, how do you know that? She froze. Her mouth opened, then closed. She blinked rapidly, like she was buffering. And then, why, and okay, look, I may have done some mild, very mild research. My brows arched. Jungkook research. Why, and it's not weird, okay? You literally walk around campus like a gothic vampire. Of course, you are going to be one of my many crushes. I had to check if you were married or dating or secretly into some lady or something. She threw her arms up dramatically, like she was defending herself in court. Why, and it turns out nothing. Clean record. Not even a coffee date in 2 years. Mysterious, cold, unreadable, ding, ding, ding. Romance novel. Dreamboat. She pointed at me like I was a contestant on a game show. I stared at her. I didn't know what to say. I had been confessed to before. Girls leaving notes on my desk, sending weird messages, trying to flirt in painfully obvious ways. I always ignored it. It never meant anything. I was always straightforward in rejecting them. But this insane little creature admitting with full chest that she crushed on me and at background checks, it should have been annoying, creepy even. But instead, my heart stuttered once hard. Why her? Why now? She was so not my type. Loud, dramatic, chaotic, the exact opposite of my life. She sat back with a satisfied look, brushing her hair out of her face and opening her book again. Like she didn't just drop a bomb. I cleared my throat. She looked up. Jungkook, you did research? By N. Yep. Jungkook, on me? Why N. Yep. Junk, why? Why N. Told you already. You are one of my crushes. She said like it was nothing, no fear, no hesitation, like saying I like strawberry milk. I should have been annoyed, but I wasn't. Instead, my eyes dropped to her book, the way her fingers curled around the pages, a soft bounce of her knee, her mouth slightly open as she read. I looked away quickly. No, no, this was nothing. She was just a student. Just a girl, just someone who made my heart skip without warning. I was just beginning to get my pulse back under control, just barely. She had gone quiet again after huffing and puffing about my boring, quiet nature. Thank God, probably reading some new chapter about a man falling in love with a girl he found crying in a garden or something. I tried to focus. The laptop screen glowed pale blue, the cursor blinked, and then, why, Anne, go on a date with me. I froze. My fingers paused mid type. Did I just hallucinate? I turned my head slowly to look at her, eyebrows furrowed, thought suddenly dry. Jungkook. What? She didn't even flinch. She didn't laugh like it was a joke. No, she just blinked at me like I was the one being weird. Why, Anne, I'm saying go on a date with me, not like tomorrow. I mean, unless you want to, but eventually. She waved her hand cruelly, like asking a professor out was the same as ordering fries with a burger. Why, and there's not much age difference anyway, just 5 years. That's nothing. My cousin's married to someone 7 years older, so see, normal. I blinked twice. Her big eyes were innocently staring at me. Why, and yeah, I know I'm your student technically, but I'm not like a baby anything. I'm an adult, totally legal, mentally stable. I'm indebatable, but emotionally grounded when needed. She was rambling again. Why, and I'm single. You're single. I'm not trying to seduce you right now or anything, although the moonlight is giving this a very dramatic vibe. What was happening? Why couldn't I move? Why? And it's not infatuation, okay, maybe, but what if it's more? What if in some alternate timeline I'm your soulmate and we are both ignoring it because we are stuck in a library with bad lightning? My heart was now full on sprinting. It wasn't just a flutter, it was running. Why was I reacting like this? I have had girls confess before, blush and flirt and write letters. I never even blinked, but now this. This chaotic tiny moonbeam of a creature was sitting across from me, talking about some alternate timelines and soulmates like it was just her casual Friday plan. I felt lightheaded. I was about to open my mouth, say something, anything, when the lights flickered. Then boom. Electricity came back. The hallway outside lit up, my screen lit up, and in the next second, footsteps echoed in the room. A guard, middle aged, out of breath, holding his flashlight like a weapon until he saw me. Guard, Professor Joan. I got call from Mr. Han, the librarian. He said he saw your missed calls. Tried calling back, but your number was off. I cleared my throat and stood up, adjusting my glasses. Jungkook, yeah, the signals went down with the power. I turned towards her. She was no longer reading. She was bent over my register, scribbling something. Jungkook, what are you? God, what's the student doing here this late? I turned to answer, but she didn't even give me the chance. She ignored him completely, folded the paper she wrote on, tore it from the page, and then, God help me, slipped into my coat pocket. Why, and Kimuni, she whispered like it was a spell. I didn't breathe. Why, and text me, and before I could move, speak, process, she stood on her toes, tiptoed, and pressed her lips soft, warm, right to my cheek. A second, maybe two, then she darted away like a spark in gasoline. Gone through the hallway, gone out into the night, gone, leaving only silence, the ghost of warmth on my skin, and my entire brain short circuiting. I didn't move. I couldn't move. The guard looked at me with his jaw practically on the floor. I realized I was still frozen, one hand slightly raised, like I was going to reach for her but never did. The spot on my cheek burned. I slowly turned towards the table. Her book still lay there, slightly crooked, still she forgot it in rush. Of course she did. Because that's what she was, a walking storm of forgetfulness, chaos, and moonlight, and now she was in my head, just like that.